Let's see if this sharing shit actually fucking works. Alright. Share, that's not the window I want to share, but it'll do a separate video on that. But this one is about no one can find jobs. I know I did recently did a video and a few other videos, regarding, my situation, in between jobs, sent out 60 applications, or 30 applications rather. Let me just be honest. No callback. Like, what the fuck? At least they could just fucking see if they could, interview me at least. Like, damn. So let's get into this one. Because they're too, okay. I don't want to be bouncing around. But let's see. We 18 jobs everyone used to fight for, and now they can't fill a shift. All right, postal worker. Yeah, I mean postal worker. I mean that's a solid career. But it's a bitch to get in, and you got to time it right. And obviously, the wait is. I mean, I'm still waiting to try to get in, and no, it's not going to be an easy job. Because again, you got to walk, or you're driving the postal truck, which actually don't even have fucking power steering. And also, when it comes to winter, you get people upset that they don't get their mail because they didn't shovel out their driveway. Because there are regulations, at least up north. I'm not sure how it is down here in Virginia. Up north, if it's going to snow, you got to make a wide enough area so they can, drive in and drive out and go to the next house. Otherwise, you're not going to get your mail. They just won't deliver. And that's a safety issue. So that's one. And it is an outside job. In fact, it's funny. I've seen days where the mail actually comes here at almost 7:00 at night. Okay, that's a given. I don't need to fucking go into that. You can find plenty of fucking YouTube videos on people rage quitting. In fact, my favorite one, I forget the name, but it's like a 1.5 minute video. Like, boss man, I'm quitting. Nothing's prepped. You better hurry up and get your ass the fuck down here because I'm leaving. Okay, so yeah, pay doesn't match pressure. Yeah, that's definitely fucking accurate. Bus driver. Yeah, I mean, these are jobs that were considered, very, very good jobs. Barring the cook, of course. I don't think that was ever really, unless you're like a head chef, maybe, yeah. But, like a line cook or a kitchen staff, yeah, it's fucking stress. And that's mad stressful. I mean, I don't think I would last a fucking day in a kitchen like that. And I have worked restaurant jobs before in the distant past. Factory worker, yep, that's another given. Or now with everything, being like so high stress, it's almost like they're open around the clock, 24/7, 365. And it's because of the fucking commercialization of everything that we do. Let's see, hotels. Yeah, well, I won't get into that one, but hotel workers, yeah. Can you imagine the shit and the fucking fluids they got to deal with? A long ways, yeah, but they probably paid shit. And that's probably again another one where they may or may not hire immigrants for. Cashier. And, again, there's some truth. It was a go-to job to start off somewhere, and you could work your way up. Like I mentioned this before in some of my other videos, supermarkets. I'm not a fan of, how the supermarket union operated back then. You know, somebody working 20 hours a week part-time as a cashier, being forced to pay the union, that isn't going to benefit them. But again, automated, and with the whole wage hikes and all that, fight for 15 that took place some years back, yeah, the ones who were made will get their 15, but it's going to eliminate a lot of positions. Retail manager, okay, that's kind of similar. You got to deal with every fucking, rude customer, employees that don't show up. I don't think I can handle that. Janitor, okay, yeah, I've done custodial. It wasn't bad. No, it's not glamorous. We know it's not glamorous. I don't know why people would line up to do it. I don't think I've ever seen people rushing to be a janitor. I mean, it's there, and sometimes it does pay well. It could be, comparable, to the hotel cleaning staff. Your cleaning stuff. But yeah, now they're the janitors are also probably using the same companies that run the cleaning companies, like the hotel cleaning companies. Security guard, that was definitely considered, and sometimes it still is. Depending on whether you're armed or unarmed security. Mall security. Oh yeah, forget it. Bank teller. Not even going into that one. Warehouse worker. Heavy lifting. No, I'll fucking do it. Delivery driver. Oh yeah, I would not want to fucking do that. Call center. Yeah, fuck that. Flight attendant. And this is messed up. Make this shit make sense. Grocery stocker. That kind of lines up with a cashier. You start off small, and then you can work your way up, depending on the company, of course. Public school. That's a given, because they don't pay shit. And this ties into some of my videos and other people's videos on college kids going to these crazy, like, expensive ass schools just to get a job doing teaching. It's, again, doesn't pay much. So they're racking up all this crazy debt, and the payoff isn't there. EMT, that's another one, and yeah, the pay is actually, from what I heard, shit. I knew a girl who I worked with at, this was in Massachusetts for, thrift store chain. She left, she became an EMT, and she was barely making any more money for driving an ambulance, saving people's fucking lives, So let's get right into this one. New graduates, and this has been covered plenty of times. And I think this has been true even since the 90s. Are we having too many college graduates and not enough of those jobs? Well, trade jobs are plentiful. And let's see here. And, I know there's like a lot of back and forth, in companies requiring a degree for a job that you don't even use it. And, I guess I'm a little old school. Well, a lot of companies didn't actually require the degree per se, but if you took two clients that had this similar type of real world experience, and one of them had a degree, they would often choose one that had the degree. Because again, it tells the company that, back when company loyalty meant something, that you're going to stick around and you're going to work your way up. Now, obviously, company loyalty means nothing because people, they'll job hop. And, again, I know it's been covered in a lot of videos. A lot of degrees, are useless. Like, I didn't want to get a completely useless degree. I've had some snippets, using it, not the big grand scheme that I wanted, but, it is what it is. And, I went to a state school, so I don't have, a super crazy amount of debt. But, again, the fact that, some of these kids are fucking going $100,000, $200,000 in debt, and the man of a guaranteed job, they're pretty much screwing themselves. Anyhow, yeah, that's my 2 cents on the topic. I'll talk to you.